Hey everybody, I'm Sharon.
And I'm Andy.
Welcome to ShandyTown. We've been trying to get that right forever. Hopefully it doesn't look too stupid.
No, I think Take 30 got it.
All right. Well, we're actually here to taste beers, gluten-free beers. I met you in 2004. Well, didn't meet you, but I re-met you in 2014.
Yes.
And I don't think from then until you were diagnosed celiac, I ever once saw you drink beer. Maybe once. But you always drink wine or spirits. That's what I see you drink, and those things don't have any gluten. So when you started to want it, I was like, he just wants it because he can't have it now.
Well, I will say the season, this is being California, it's always hot days. And there's nothing like an ice cold beer after mowing the lawn, doing some yard work, getting home from, I work for a lumber company, and hard days and stacking wood, and you come home and you'd like to have a nice cold beer. Especially in the summer when it's in the hundreds or whatnot, just an ice cold beer sounds good.
See, I'm one of those girls who, and I think it's that way more for girls than guys generally, but there are exceptions, but I'm one of those girls who just never really liked beer that much. If I'm gonna have a beer, I like a really dark beer. Not Guinness, but a really nice dark beer with lots of complexity. And
in my day, I used to love Guinness. Yeah, Guinness was
we haven't found
great.
any good dark. Well, we found a few, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, for me, it's not a thing. But I actually like some of these gluten-free beers, which tells me that they probably don't taste very much like beer. I was looking up all of these today, just for some information, so we can pass on some good information to you. And I thought, okay, we've got ales and lagers. I don't know the difference. Do you know the difference between ales and lagers?
No.
So the difference between ales and lagers, well, there's two differences. For people who are drinking it, the difference between an ale and a lager is usually that ales are more fruity, and lagers are considered more crisp. So I'm guessing you would like ales better generally, and I think you like all of these, so that supports that. But the difference from a brewer's perspective is that they use different yeasts, and lager is actually new. It didn't start till the 1500s, and it's a type of yeast that works better in cold conditions, where ales use a yeast that is actually found in nature, which thrives under warm conditions. Interestingly enough, all of the big producers, Coors, Anheuser-Busch, all those kind of ones, they use lager yeast, not ale yeast. But anyway, today we're drinking pale ales. Which do you want to start with? Do you want to start with any particular one, or do you want to mix them up, close your eyes, and you can choose one, or how do you want to do it?
That's a good idea.
All right, close your eyes.
Am I just going to swig it, or?
Okay, so you're looking again.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
All right, so put your hand out. They're right about here. Okay, you're just going to grab the first one? All right.
I've never opened one while I've not seen it.
No,
so
you
I'm
can
not
look.
Sure
You
I
can look
do
now.
this.
You can know what it is when we drink it. I just wanted you to pick one randomly, and that is
the New Belgium Glutiny.
Is that the cat? Oh.
It's the cat trying to come in.
She's trying to excuse me. I wondered what that was. I thought you were tapping your foot. Come on in, kitty. There you go. Come on. Go ahead. There you go. Crazy feline. She'll probably jump. Are you tasting it already?
No.
He was tasting it, wasn't he? All right. Yeah, so I still think probably a lot more people have gluten sensitivities than they know.
Yeah.
And you know, if it makes you feel better, you may as well do it. So let's go ahead and try this.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's a nice amber color. I don't know what that says. It didn't foam very much when you poured it. Do you think it's a little old?
No, I poured it at an angle.
Yeah, but then
I held the cup.
But then I poured the rest in later and I just dumped it.
Well.
Oh well.
Cheers.
Smells like beer. Oh, this is a gluten-reduced one, by the way. It's bitter like an India Pale Ale. That's the first thing I get from it. If you like IPA, you're going to like this.
Yeah, this is, I really like this beer. I've had it before.
It's bitter like an IPA, but it has a sweet aftertaste.
Yeah.
Which is probably why you like it, because you like sweet.
I do.
Because you're sweet.
Thanks, honey. So you've had a few tastes. In your opinion, from 1 to 10?
Do you know, I wouldn't know how to rate this if we hadn't tasted a number of gluten-free beers before, but I would put this right at a 5 as my benchmark, because I think it's a good solid beer, but I don't love it and I don't hate it. So I'm going to put it right as my benchmark and see how I go from there.
Oh. Well, I, as well, I have tasted a few beers. And I know this is, oh gosh, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Really, an 8?
It's a good beer. Nice hot day. Gosh, it just...
Yeah, that bitterness is good for heat. You could be out working on those windows, you know, I could be putting in another kitchen window and I could have one of these and be pretty happy.
Or better yet, I'm sitting there barbecuing in the backyard, drinking a cold one of these, and the sun's beating down, and I'm watching the cats play in the backyard. And
cats? We only own one cat.
I don't know, the neighbor's cat comes over all the time to play with ours. So
he keeps saying, not my cat, and now suddenly he's got 2.
No, they're her cats.
They're not my cats. They're his cats. Yeah, but you know, for me, I'm not, I don't want to say I don't like, I'm not as big a fan of IPAs as other types of beers, and this has just got still a little bit too much bitterness for me.
All right.
It's not as bitter as like a Lagunitas IPA. That to me is like, I can hardly drink that stuff. It's got a sweet finish.
I could taste a good steak with this beer.
Yeah, I go that. It needs, it's funny, I like tea which is bitter with nothing in it. But in my beer, it's too beery that way. Yep. But I could, a steak would complement this well. It would cut through it.
Okay, here we are picking door number 2.
All right, let me shuffle them around.
Excuse my reach.
It's hard to shuffle 3 beers. Are you looking?
No, not really.
There you go.
This one.
All right.
Oh.
That's your Stone Delicious. Now, this beer is interesting because this one, when you got gluten-reduced beers, you have some that are certified. They all test to find out what the gluten content is. But some of them are actually certified, and some don't seem to be. Some seem to just say, well, we've tested it, and it's less than this much, and it's usually significantly less than what it needs to be. But they don't certify that every batch is always that way. Some of them do. I'll get to Omission in a minute. They do that. So if I find this beer questionable, they're a beer company that makes beers, and oh, by the way, this one is gluten reduced. So I'm not confident in it.
I agree.
If I were a celiac and I had like really severe symptoms, I wouldn't risk this beer. That's all I'm saying. This one's 7.7%.
Yes, alcohol.
See it? Stone Delicious.
Cheers.
We haven't tasted this one before. We had Glutiny before, so this is a first. I'm already burping. Oh, wow. That reads like a dark beer.
Yeah.
That's really got complex flavor to it, doesn't it? It tastes darker than it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, compared to the Glutiny,
It still starts out bitter like an IPA.
yeah, it's got a lot of flavor.
It's got a darker thing going on.
Amber in color. It seems to have a little more bubble action going on.
It does, and I don't know if that's just because we just bought it and that one's been around for a while, or...
No, that's we just
Oh, is that one
up.
new?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
these
I
are
thought
all
we still
new.
had some in the fridge. I like it better as I drink it.
Oh.
I can already put a score on this, and I would rate it higher than I'm going to, except for the fact that I rated that as 5 as my benchmark, and I don't like this as well as I like the Glutiny.
So you can raise your...
No, I don't think I can at this point. Maybe later I will, but I would give this a 4 because I got to put it under that.
Well...
Okay, I'll move that up to a 6.
You can...
And give this a 5. Because I don't dislike it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, if it was the last
lighter,
beer in the fridge, I'd grab it.
That's a summer...
I'm not really
You're
a
not a
big
fan either?
fan. No.
Which is funny. I was expecting to like this a lot. And I like dark beers. And this actually tastes like a dark beer. But it starts like an IPA. And that's the problem I have with it. I don't want bitter and then complex. It doesn't... It's not me.
But it says here... with lemon drop and Eldorado hops. Do you taste any lemon drop in there?
Well, I did read about it when I was looking that it is going to taste citrusy when we taste it. Somewhere here I had a note.
I don't get
Sounds
citrusy.
like it will be bitter, lemony, and citrusy.
I get the bitter.
Yeah, it has at least as much bitter as that, and then the complex comes up and kind of boosts the bitter.
Yeah, but the problem is the taste of the Glutiny. You
Light
get
and
that
refreshing. It's like a
and
Corona.
then- yeah.
It's like a Corona that.
Well, I
with a
don't
little
know.
bit more IPA-ish to it.
But this kind of hits you, and then it doesn't go away. That taste kind of just stays in your mouth.
Well, yeah, the bitterness with that finishes and then it's
Yeah.
sweet. And the bitterness with this doesn't finish, but it gets those complex flavors too, which seems to intensify the bitterness. Is
Yeah.
that what you're getting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give it... The Glutiny's definitely an 8. I'm sorry, but I gotta give you a 5. It's just not my favorite. And...
I hear you.
yeah. Here we are, number 3, omissions.
Now this is what you started talking about.
Hoppy and easy drinking pale ale,
Now,
crafted to remove gluten.
Now, Omission does a number of gluten-free beers. This is the pale ale. They also do, excuse me for looking down here, but they also do a yellow bottle, which is a lager, which we know uses a different kind of yeast normally. So I don't know how they differentiate it here. Maybe they do use that yeast. Oh, that one got shaken up.
Had a little head on it.
And they also do an IPA, which is in a green bottle, and they have a new calorie-reduced pale ale. So it's also in a blue bottle. It has 5 carbs and 99 calories.
Do you know where it comes from?
Yes, this one I do. This is an interesting story. So this is made by a guy named Joe Casey, who's from Oregon, and his wife was actually diagnosed with celiac in the early 2000s. And at the time, she worked in the beer industry. Talk about irony, right?
What luck.
And he didn't care what people said about, oh, it's not real beer then. He wanted to make something for her that she could drink. And he made this. And,
What a nice guy.
And Omission is, I know, almost as nice as you.
Thanks, honey.
And this is a well-regarded, like, this is one that people know. When you say gluten-free beer, people know this. You look at the cat over there. What is she doing?
Where is she?
She's either chasing a fly that's against the sliding glass door, or she's psychotic, which is possible.
or she got into the other gluten-free beer.
I think she
So-
did. I think she's drunk anyway.
Here we are with the Omission. I've poured us a couple samples.
This is actually, they're getting darker. This is like the Glutiny was very pale,
Cheers.
right, in comparison.
It was very amber looking. The
But
Glutiny.
this is a dark amber though.
This
They're getting
was
darker.
more bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I don't see any bubbles at all. Do you?
No, but
That's carbonation.
it looks like a smaller bubble. Let's
Okay.
try it. Why are our beers not bubbly? Do they go out of the gluten-reduced ones faster? Oh, by the way, this is also gluten-reduced. So the first 3 that we're testing today, they're all gluten-reduced. BuckWild is actually gluten-free. It's made with different grains. We'll get to that in a minute. BuckWild. We're not getting paid, I swear.
Okay.
Right, here we go.
Do you taste any citrus?
I don't taste anything. I taste beer flavor. I taste beer flavor.
Yeah.
It tastes like beer.
It's unfortunate it doesn't have the carbonation I think that the others do.
Should we get the other bottle and make sure that it's not this bottle?
Yeah.
We had
Let me grab another bottle.
And I'll tell this story. We had 2 bottles. One had this cap with the black O on it. The other one has a white O. Now, each of their batches, they actually test it to see how many parts per million gluten are in them. And you can look it up online. This particular bottle was manufactured as batch 1, May 22nd, 2017, and it had less than 10 parts per million. Is this one newer? What does it say on it? I can't read without my contacts, so you're gonna have to read this right here.
Here, you show the cap.
See, this has a white O on it, so it's a different batch.
September.
September 2017. So this is number 2. It does say that these beers generally have a shelf.
Look at the bubbles.
Oh, well, these beers generally have a shelf life of a year, and if you're a beer drinker, who's going to leave it around for a year? So. Oh, totally different.
Yeah.
This.
Now the carbonation has settled down.
Yeah, but it's still there, and that carbonation actually gives it a little bit of that bitterness back, which I've never appreciated. Maybe I don't like IPAs thinking they're bitter because I haven't had a lot of beer. And beer actually needs that little bitterness. Is that... How many times have I said bitter? Too many?
12. So if you're at college and this is a drinking game, every time she says bitter,
Drink up.
drink up. Okay.
I like it.
Gosh.
I know you like you like the Glutiny the best, don't you? You like the
I
Glutiny
do
the best.
like it, but I wish I had the Glutiny right here to just do a little back and forth action, but
Go get another bottle.
no.
Well, it starts out more bitter. This starts out fizzy.
There's nothing wrong with giving this Omissions, granted with the right year that it's been brewed, an 8 as well.
You like them both equally, but
I
for
like
different
them
reasons.
both equally, but for different reasons. That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm going to bump the Glutiny up to a 7, and I'm going to give this a 7 too.
Oh,
I like them slightly less than you do, but maybe I like beer slightly less than you do too. This is actually the first beer we're drinking, which is gluten-free. This is not made out of the same kind of grains. So let me find my notes on that. So BuckWild is California's first 100% gluten-free beer. We saw it first at the San Mateo Gluten-Free Expo. I will link to the gluten-free expos below. They are awesome if you can make it to one. There's one coming up in Colorado. I wish we could make it to that.
no, but we will be at the
The San Mateo one in November, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
But the maker's name, I believe, is Mike Bernstein. He was a home brewer. He started brewing gluten-free beers in 2006 and distributing them to his family and friends. And by 2011, he was getting so many requests to manufacture to a wider audience, he began working with UC Davis to develop a commercially viable gluten-free beer. And that's how it all started. I read he's having a few distribution problems. It's still early days, so that doesn't surprise me. I'm actually relieved that we got some.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I get chocolate out of it. It tastes like chocolate to
I
me.
take berries.
So what we're saying here is it has a sweetness to it, doesn't it?
This is just
If you like bitter, though, I would say this is flat. This is flat if you like bitter.
Yeah.
If you like that kick, you're not going to get it out of this.
Yeah, the
but you
kick
get
you
something
get from
else.
Glutiny,
You don't get.
you will not get from
No.
BuckWild. But BuckWild,
But you
God,
know what
the
it has?
taste.
It has that complexity that some of the dark beers have for me. It definitely has that. It actually has what this one has with the complexity without having what this one has with the bitterness. And I like that. So if you like dark beers, I think you'd like this.
yeah, it has a great taste.
It still stands up for us, but it does not have an IPA taste. It is not bitter at
No,
all.
no.
It doesn't like.
No, it is definitely not an IPA. You're looking for an IPA taste, go for the Glutiny.
If it was the heat of summer and you wanted a refreshing beer, you probably wouldn't choose this, would you? As much as you like it, this would be for after the sun goes down.
Oh,
In the
God,
heat of
that's a
day,
good question.
in the heat of day, that would actually cool you off more because of that bitterness, I think.
Well, I would probably start with the Glutiny and end with BuckWild.
It's not chocolate I get out of this. Do you know what it is? It's the same thing I get out of a lot of dark beers. It's coffee. Taste it again. It's got coffee. It's got the coffee thing going on. It's not bitter though, but it's got the coffee thing, like coffee with some sugar in it.
Does it have a smell? A different?
Yeah, it smells like coffee too.
A little bit.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9. What would you give it?
I would agree. I would give it a 9 as well.
We gotta leave some room for the one who just hits it out of the ballpark, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody will.
So, right now for this taste test, we both picked BuckWild as number 1.
As our favorite, but I would say overall, like,
To me,
yeah.
Glutiny would be number 2.
But for general taste, I think for the average person, I think this would probably be the winner. I actually do think, with today's taste with IPAs, I think that would be the winner.
Well, with this being a series, at the end we will
Rank
do
them
best
all?
of show.
I
You know,
think
like
so.
the dog show. We'll have the best of show.
So are we saying that either of these could be best of show and we're not sure yet?
Well, those will be entered into the best of show.
I see.
The omissions and the
Can't
still
see them over there. You
delicious.
gotta put them over here. Those two, they're fine.
good.
They're drinkable.
Omissions.
No
is-
problem.
Yeah.
Good solid beers. But wouldn't be the first choice. If either of these two were around, we'd be drinking these.
Correct.
So that's pretty much it for today. Again, if you're interested in this content, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell next to it so you get notified when we do it, and like us. And give us your feedback. If you want more of this kind of content, let us know. Thanks for joining us in ShandyTown. We appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Join us for round 2, where we introduce 4 more gluten-free beers and give you our opinions, as well as answer any questions from round 1. Look for our other videos on wine tasting, claw machines, and other fun stuff. Please subscribe.